This Pilates sequence is all about building a strong and resilient body. So each exercise is really designed to work on your muscle strength and give you a nice, well-rounded, full body workout. So we're going to kick things off in an all-fours position. So bring yourself down to your mat, taking your knees underneath your hips and your hands underneath your shoulders, finding some energy through the arms, spreading all 10 fingertips. We're nice and grounded into the mat. And all we're going to do here is extend the right leg behind us, pointing through the toes, and then lift this leg up to the height of our hip. And then from there, just start to slowly tap the foot down and then float it back up to hip height. So I always talk about an image here of having a cup of tea balanced on our tailbone. So think about the length of the leg rather than the height of the leg, keeping the hips nice and still and stable. And focusing on your hip bones and your shoulders, staying facing down towards the mat. If you want to take things a little bit further, see how it feels to start to extend your opposite left arm forwards away from you, and that lifts up with the right leg. And then your fingertips and your toes tap down and then lift back up. This is where things get a little more wobbly, but just focus on the length. Reach through the fingers, reach through the toes, and feel like you're having to press up through thick treacle and then squeeze back down. So it's really nice and slow and controlled. We're not throwing away any of these movements. And when we fight against the little wiggles in our body that want to happen, we really switch on our core stabilization muscles as well. Just take 2 more, really focusing on keeping those shoulders and hips square to your mat, and then hold this last one. So you can always place this left hand back down if you need to. And I just want you to focus on reaching an inch further forwards through your fingertips, an inch further back through your toes, not letting those shoulders lift up to the ears. And hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in and go straight to the second side. Give your wrist a little wriggle out if you just need to reset there. Left leg extends, point through those toes, lift that foot up to hip height. Slowly tap the toes down. Lengthen this leg back up. Remembering we've got that full cup of tea balanced on the tailbone, so careful here to not push the leg up, because then your back is going to be in that arch position. So we're just thinking of the length more than the height. And maybe we get the opposite right arm involved. So we lift the fingers and the toes together, slowly tap down. Lengthen away and lower. And especially on the second side, when our body is already starting to fatigue slightly, we're going to have to really support through the left arm. So try not to lock into the elbow joint on that left-hand side. Keep it slightly soft. Think about squeezing the shoulder blade in and down, so you're really active through the left side of the back. That's going to offer a lot of support. And those core muscles still working hard to keep us nice and still here in the upper body. Think about just gently drawing your belly button up towards your spine, and it helps with that core stability. Let's take 2 more. Lengthen and lower. Last one, just hold. And again, option to bring this right hand back down, but if it's there, can you reach a little further forward through your fingertips without lifting the shoulder? Reach a little further back through your big toes. Make your body feel as long and as strong as it can here, really engaging through those muscles. Holding 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. Sit yourself back onto your heels. Give your wrists a little bit of a wriggle. We're going to come to lie onto our back now. So swing your legs around in front of you. Lie yourself flat on your back. Your feet are a hip distance apart and parallel. And if your arms are running along by your side, your fingertips should just about touch the back of your heels. And that's how you know that your feet aren't here too far away from you. From there, start to just gently press the lower back down in the mat. Make contact with the mat and then peel each part of your spine, bone by bone, vertebrae at a time, all the way up towards a nice strong bridge position. And you may want to draw your chin into your chest here slightly just to support the neck. See what feels comfortable for you. And we're really grounding through the feet. I just want you to hold this position to begin with, to feel the strength that is there through the back of the legs and through your bum cheeks. So spreading all 10 toes, feeling this energy through the big toe joint and through the heels. So we can lift the hips a little bit higher. Feel those muscles there in the back of the legs kick in even more. And then just as slowly as you came up, I want you to slowly lower yourself back down, again, through each section of the spine. Upper back first, then mid back, then lower back, and just release to a comfortable position at the bottom. So I want you to think about exhaling, gently pressing the lower back down, repeating that feeling of lifting all the way up. One long line from knee to hip, hip to shoulder as we hit this bridge position, and then slowly lowering ourselves all the way back down. Exhale is our lift. Follow your breath here. I want your inhale to slowly bring you back down. If you want to level this up, could you reach your arms up towards the ceiling, palms face in, fingertips stacked above the shoulders, just so we've got a little bit less stability there from the arms. Careful as always, that hasn't meant that the shoulders are hunched up to the ears. Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed as you do this. And I want you to imagine that you're trying to hold a piece of paper between each arm cheek, because it really does help with that feeling of engaging in and squeezing up that we want to find to really build that strong and resilient body. So we're thinking of the strength that's there in these muscles to facilitate these movements. Okay, taking one more, holding at the top here. So you have a choice, you can just hold, and already, if you're like me, you're most definitely feeling this in the back of the legs and the glutes. So maybe you just want to hold. Maybe the arms are floating up if they haven't already. Maybe there is a little squeeze there, a squeeze of those bum cheeks that pulses our hips up just an inch. Tiny little movement here. Squeeze, lift, squeeze, lift, squeeze, lift. Thinking of that energy again through the big toe joint, through the heels. Think about reaching through the front of your thighs. This energy shining out through your kneecaps. Squeezing for 10 more for me. 9, 8, 7. Keep squeezing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms down and then slowly lower through the back and releasing at the bottom. Just give your knees a drop to one side then the other, a little windscreen wiper of the knees just to release through the lower back, release through the hips. Now bring these knees back to that bent position, fingertips just skimming the back of our heels, feet hip distance apart, and we are set up for our next movement. I want your spine to be neutral here to begin with. So by that I mean if you were to take one hand and just try and slide it underneath the lower back, there should be a slight gap there, a little pocket of air. So don't press that back down. Try and keep that little pocket of air just following the natural curve in your lower back. Your hands are going to interlace, come behind the back of your head, and your elbows are going to lift just off the ground so you can see them in your eye line. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slightly draw the chin to the chest, lift the head, the neck, and the tip of the shoulders just off the mat. Inhale, slowly lower yourself back down, keep your head heavy into your hands. Exhale, chin nod to chest, lift up head, neck, tip of shoulder blades. Inhale, lower. So this is just an upper abdominal curl. This is a great way to engage our deepest abdominal layer, our transverse abdominals, and our pelvic floor muscles. So as you're coming up and exhaling, I want you to think about knitting the front of your rib cage together, drawing your navel, your belly button, back towards your spine, feeling that internal lift and engagement there. And this is one of those movements that doesn't look like a lot, but it really activates those deep core muscles. Be careful here that as you're coming up, you're not dragging your elbows in. I want you to keep your elbows wide, just there in your eye line. And remember about that pocket of air for me. If you're lifting up, could you still have those fingertips just able to slide underneath? So you're not pushing the back down to heave yourself up. It's a really controlled movement. That's a real theme here. When we're trying to build strength and resilience, it's about finding control through these Pilates exercises. That really is the key to this. Have we got 2 more? Lifting up and lowering. Stay with me. You're going to lift the next one up. You're going to hold yourself there. Your shoulder blades are hovering just off the mat. Your head is heavy into your hands. Your shoulders are relaxed. Think of drawing the navel to the spine again. Think of knitting the front of the rib cage in. You can just hold here. If you want a little bit more, I want you to reach your arms away from me, squeeze your fingertips together, palms facing down. Just start to pump these arms through the air. But feel like they're pressing down on two big old rusty springs, so they're not floaty. There's a squeeze, 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 squeeze. And I just want you to breathe. Don't overthink the breath here. We're just going to stay for 20 more seconds. A nice, powerful pumping action through those arms. So we're engaging our arm muscles here as well. Maybe lift the chest just a little bit higher. 8 more seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it down. Take a little reset breath. Okay, we're going to bring the legs up to a tabletop position now. So bring the legs up, point through the toes. Your knees are stacked over your hips, your shins are parallel to the ground. Now I want you to press the base of your spine down into the mat so you've got contact of your lower back and the mat. Arms by our sides. We're going to exhale, extend our right leg long and low, pointing through the toes. We're going to inhale, bring this leg back to tabletop. Exhale, extend, lengthen the opposite left leg long and low. Inhale back to tabletop. So we're really mindful here that we're keeping that imprint. We're keeping the connection of the lower back and the mat. Your leg is a heavy limb and it's levering away from the center line of your body. So if we allow the weight of our leg to drag our back into an arch, we're going to lose the control and the strength that we're building there in our core muscles. You can stay here if this is feeling like enough. If you want to level up, arms come back up, palms face in, fingertips above shoulders. As your right leg extends, your left arm goes back behind you, thumb hovering just off the ground. Inhale, come back. Exhale, left leg, right arm. Inhale, come back. So we are working deep into these core muscles. If we want to start to activate even more into our upper abdominals, our six-pack muscles, there's one more level up here. We draw the chin to the chest, we lift, float the head, the neck, the tip of the shoulders, and we hold ourselves up here in this abdominal curl while we take the action of lowering the leg and the arm. Keep breathing for me. Exhale on the extension. Inhale, come back. If it gets too much for the neck, you can always lower that head back down. Staying here, keeping that control, maybe lifting the chest a little bit higher. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but my abdominals are shaking. Let's do one more each side. And then I'm going to invite you to stay up if you are there. Squeeze the legs together for a moment. Hold the back of the legs for me. See if we can lift the chest a little bit higher. You may just want to hold here. Tiny little bit more. We hold the back of the right leg. We extend, lengthen the left. We inhale, exhale, switch. We're very lightly holding the back of that leg, or maybe we could actually hold the top of the shin just below the knee and really think about getting the knee and the nose towards one another, or think about trying to kiss your knee. So we're in a really high, tight abdominal curl, really activating deep into these upper abdominal muscles. Breathe, relax the shoulders. Stay with me for 10, not super speedy. 9, it's control. 8, keep looking forwards. 7, 6, you're so nearly there. 5, it is worth it to building that abdominal strength. Last 2, last 1, hug the knees in and relax the body down. Okay, we've done a lot there for the front body, the abdominals. We're going to come back up and we're going to come back around to that all fours position where we started. Hands directly under shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. I'm going to guide you through a little plank sequence here. I want you to come back to that feeling of having that full cup of tea balanced on your tailbone. Don't let that lower back arch. Now tuck the toes, squeeze the glutes, hover your knees and shins just off the mat. So you're coming into your little box hover here. Careful not to pike the hips up. So we're trying to keep that long line through the spine. Knees are just hovering off the mat. See if we can hold here for 10 seconds. Mindful again not to lock out in those elbows. Have your elbows slightly soft, have the elbow creases hugging into one another. Bring your shoulder blades in and down, nice and strong through the back. Last 3 seconds, 2, 1. Release the knees, release the toes. At any point you just need to reset through your wrists and give them a little bit of a wriggle, you can. Let's come back into this. So we tuck the toes, squeeze the glutes, hover the knees and the shins into this box position. You've done it once already, so you know you can hold here if you wish. Look towards the top of your mat so your neck is a nice long extension of the spine. If you want a little bit more, we could extend the legs behind us, coming into our full plank variation. I'm going to build some layers here. The moment you feel you've lost your technique, I want you to come back to a hold. And if you notice your hips are starting to droop, or you're up here in this pike, I want you to come down to your knees and hold this kneeling plank, or just come into that box hover. We're still here. We're going to go for 30 more seconds. If you want to add on, we're going to squeeze our right knee towards our navel. Keep that eye line long, step it back. It's slow. Left knee towards our navel. Step it back. A slow motion mountain climber. Really feeling like we're having to press through the air. Squeeze that knee in, draw it back. 6, back. Exhale in, 5, and back. 4, think of the length through the crown of your head. 3, and reaching out through your tailbone. Stay with me for just 2. Energy through those arms. Last 1. Step it back and release. Just to a reset for a moment. Child pose, toes together, knees apart, arms nice and long. Take a deep breath into the back, into the shoulders, and release. Got one more variation for you. Really focusing on that strength and resilience. Final little challenge for you here. So please listen to your body, find the variation that works for you. If it's getting a lot for your wrist, you can always come down to your forearms and hold a forearm plank for me here. If we are feeling okay to come back into that full plank, I want you to set yourself up, but from there we're going to come down to the knees to begin with. So we're in this kneeling plank position. Move your chest forwards and down rather than your hips back. We're going to bend the elbows, hug them in towards the body, lower ourselves down to hover just off the mat or as low as we can go, and then press energy up with control through these arms. Now this really is a full body exercise. Inhale, lower elbows, hug in. Exhale, press up and away. Give your glutes a nice strong squeeze here. So that back body is supporting us. There is of course the option to level this up by coming into that full extended position, lowering down, pressing ourselves up and away, trying to keep that body in one long plank-like position. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to come back down to my knees. Have we got 3 more? Inhale, exhale. Think of that chest going forwards and down. Inhale, exhale. Last one. You've got it. Press up and away, and then toes together, knees apart. Sit yourself back once more. And take a little moment in that very well-deserved child pose. Really breathe into the back, breathe into the shoulders. Deep inhale. Exhale. Roll yourself up. Bring palm to palm. Just give those wrists a bit of a wriggle. And if it feels nice, just give them a bit of a shake. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that sequence. If you've got any questions, please let me know. And let me know how you get on.